Hey, business building warrior. Welcome to the weekend update. If you're listening to this episode right when it came out, it's Saturday. And what we like to do on Saturdays is still work. A lot of us work 6 days and rest one. Hey, good enough for God, good enough for us. That's the way He created the whole universe, right? So we're working on a Saturday, sure, but why not take along a great update, a podcast episode that we've gone back and reviewed from maybe 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 months ago. We've got hundreds of great interviews. So what we do on the weekends is we go back, we find those great episodes that maybe slipped past your radar, or some of those great insights and tips and strategies from some of the successful students, and just kind of break it down into little easily digested nuggets for your weekend update. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to dive into that in just a moment after I make a couple of announcements. First, if you haven't got a free copy yet of the brand new, all new, our 11th update of the Silent Sales Machine book, this is the book that started this podcast. It started our community, the 73,000 members of our free Facebook group, our incredible events. It all started because I sat down about 20 years ago and wrote a book over a weekend. It was actually just a PDF report at the time, and it took off. And it started this incredible movement that is now thousands of business building warriors all over the world. It wasn't because of anything that I did. I was just making some observations and sharing what others had taught me. I kind of compiled the information into one place with the premise of, hey, you can use the internet to grow the business of your dreams. And here's the rules I'm kind of discovering. Here's some of the things you should avoid, I was discovering. And there's a group of us. We just kind of compiled this information and kept learning new things. Well, I've updated it, and the 11th update is now available. All the stuff you should avoid, the legitimate opportunities that are available to you, the mindset that's required in order to tackle these opportunities, a lot of very specific strategic advice on using the internet to launch and grow the business of your dreams, multiple income streams, using the internet creatively. That's the book. So go to silentsalesmachine.com and you can see more about it. Or you can text the word free, that's FREE, to this phone number. It'll be in the show notes as well today. The phone number is 507 800 0090. Now, if you happen to live outside the United States or Canada, that might not work for you. So just email our support team. There's a link at silentjimdotcom and say, hey, I heard Jim make that free offer. Assuming the free offer is still around, which it will expire at some point. But now, as we're launching the book, we wanted to give it away for free. That's a great opportunity for you. So there's that. And I also want to remind you, if you're new around here, this podcast is the supporting podcast for the leading Amazon seller training in the industry. I'm talking about the Proven Amazon course at provenamazoncourse.com. It's the longest running Amazon seller training in the industry, with more success stories than any other, a bigger support team. There's about 100 of us that support that course. All kinds of creative modules for every level of Amazon seller experience. If you know nothing about Amazon, you know nothing about e-commerce, we got you. If you've already got a $50,000, $100,000, $1 million a month business, there's ideas in there I guarantee you have never been exposed to that could improve your business. So for $39 a month, provenamazoncourse.com gets you a library of content that grows with you. We believe in just-in-time education, which means right when you need it, we got that next thing that you need, and it's in there. And then we've got our free Facebook group support community at silentjim.com that's there to help you as well if you want to check that out. So that's the introduction for this weekend update. Let's go find out what the team has put together for us today. Enjoy this episode. We'll have brand new episodes for you starting at the beginning of the week, so don't miss those. Hey, have a great weekend. God bless you, warrior. Let's jump into the content. Hey, business building warrior. Welcome to an all new episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm your host for the opening segment today, Jim Cockrum. I'll be bringing a guest on with us here in just a moment. This is someone that I met recently when Nathan Bailey, our coaching director, and I headed to Seattle for Amazon Accelerate. It was a September event, 2023. All Amazon sellers were invited to attend. They had about 2,500 in attendance, the last number I heard. And we were actually invited as part of the media, I'm using air quotes, because I didn't know exactly what that meant. Amazon reached out to a handful of what they consider to be influential voices in e-commerce and invited them to attend at no charge, which was a cool honor for sure. And as part of that experience, we got to meet with multiple people on Amazon's team, people that support sellers. The event was hosted, and I would estimate, I'm not sure how many people they had there working the event, but I would say 200 or 300 people at least. And a lot of people were there from Amazon, breakout sessions, booths where you could walk up and talk to the different teams, and then all kinds of great vendors as well. That was a great experience, just being in this massive vendor hall. I'm not sure how big it is, but it was easily the size of 2.5, 3 football fields. I mean, this place was massive, and just every imaginable service provider. I highly recommend that you plan on attending next year. I'm sure we will. And what was really cool, just kind of walking around the hall and meeting the people there and talking with Amazon. A lot of people know who this community is. They have a great deal of respect for this community. We are a significant size to where we get a lot of attention, and we've created a lot of success stories. And I think maybe that's why we were one of, if not the only, as far as I know, we were the only ones that got to have an interview with some of the higher ups at Amazon, and specifically one, which will be a separate podcast episode from this one. It'll be published somewhere around this one, probably slightly after this one, because I'm excited to bring to you today someone I met while I was there. Her name is Kim Shanahan. She is using a strategy that you've heard us talking a lot around here lately of putting together branded bundles. She's built a beautiful business. She's hired special needs workers, which is just incredible, helping young adults and adults who kind of struggle to find jobs that fit their skill set because of their special needs and special challenges. Well, she's employing them. She's built a beautiful business, and they put together gift baskets of brands. I actually specifically asked her, now, do you own any of the brands that go into your basket? And she said, no. We just put together different brands into a basket, and they're doing very well. It's a 7-figure business. And I saw some video of her team in action. It's just a really cool operation where even one of the workers is blind, and he's able to contribute in a significant way because it's a repetitive task. He knows where things are. She said he's super organized and contributes in a significant way, even without having the ability to see the work he's doing. He's just contributing in a significant way to what they've built. Very successful business using strategies that you've heard us talk about around here. Branded bundles is a beautiful strategy. And as a reminder, if you're new around here, let me just set the stage a little bit before I bring Kim on and share that interview with you that I had. Again, I sat down and talked to her at the Amazon Accelerate event as a successful seller who was in attendance. There's a foundation that's required to succeed on Amazon around here. This is how we teach Amazon. We don't throw you into the deep end of the swimming pool. We don't say, hey, go launch a brand. Hey, go build a new product that the world has never seen. Share your big idea with the world. That's not the best way to go with Amazon because, again, from our experience, about 95% of the people who say, okay, I'm going to go big, I'm going to launch a brand, 95% of them fail. So we ease sellers into the process. We talk about maybe some retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. Don't stay there forever, of course. No, don't try to build your entire business around that one model. Step into the replens model next. That's the one we're most excited about helping people step into, because now you're serving the underserved shelf space. You're not just chasing discounted goods and closeouts. You're actually meeting needs on ASINs that are underserved. And you're able to identify those, and you can go repeat purchase the same products over and over again and sell them at a nice profit. From there, you start to move into maybe some wholesale or some branded bundles, which is what we're going to talk to Kim about today. That's the strategy she uses. And then there's other strategies that stack on top of that. And at each stage, you're improving your leadership ability, you're growing your team, you're adding automation to the process. It's an incredible journey. But if you're new to all of this, I'm not suggesting you run out and jump and try to do exactly what Kim's doing. You need to ease into it. You need the proven Amazon course. You need to step through the basics, maybe get a coach on our team who's been through this process, who can help you on your journey as well. But I am encouraged today to share with you a great story from someone who we're even talking about maybe bringing them on the team to do some work with us. We're just in an initial conversation, so who knows where that will go. But just a heart of gold. She's built a beautiful machine that's serving their customers well. She's got a great team that shows up and helps put her products together. And it's a perfect illustration, again, of the branded bundle strategy. Hey, if you aren't in our proven branded bundle course, there's a link in the show notes. The website is provenbrandedbundles.com. provenbrandedbundles.com. It's already started as you're listening to this. There's been a handful of sessions recorded already. If you're listening to this right as this episode is published, but you can jump in a little late. It's a private Facebook group. All the content's been captured and recorded. Jump in. The website has all the details. Again, there's a link at silentjimdotcom to that course in the show notes for today's episode. That course to our free Facebook group with 74,000 members, details on coaching, details on our proven Amazon course, which is our comprehensive collection of all of our trainings. Lots of good stuff for you there. So use that link. If you're new around here, we're glad you're listening today. But let's jump over and have a conversation with my new friend, Kim Shanahan. Enjoy this episode. So Kim, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio Podcast. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
So here we are at Amazon Accelerate event.
Yeah.
And you're one of the featured success stories that everyone's so excited and motivated to hear more about. And of course, our audience, I told you a little bit about, is sellers who enjoy being motivated and inspired by great stories. So I was thrilled to see you on the schedule and get a few minutes with you. Let's get into your story. And why don't we start with why e-commerce, how you even got into this in the first place, and then we'll share some of your incredible success.
Sure. Well, my e-commerce story goes back over 20 years, really. When I first got into e-commerce, it was because I married somebody in the military, and we were going to be moving every 3 years, and I needed a business that was mobile. And that was back when e-commerce was literally just starting, when you plugged into the wall and had AOL.
Oh, so yeah. You've got mail, the dial tone.
That's how long ago that was.
You could hear the internet connection happening.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been there, too. Plenty of people will remember that.
So it was back in those olden days. But I started my first company. It was gift-related. And really the only goal of that was have a business, make a little income, and be able to move. So I wouldn't have to job search every single time we were moving. When you're military, you move every 3 years.
Of course.
So that business served me, allowed me to raise my kids. But when I was pregnant with my third child is when I had the idea for Gifts Fulfilled, which is the company that I have now. And the idea came because it was a later term pregnancy. And as part of that, they were talking about all the things that can go wrong. And so I had, 7 months to think about all those possibilities. And it was during that time that I realized for me, my biggest challenge as a parent was what happens when this child turns 18? They're going to age out of all the systems. And, what is going to happen? Where is he going to live? What's he going to do? And the what's he going to do part was something that I thought I could fix. I said, one of the biggest challenges for people with disabilities is finding employment.
Sure.
And I thought I could take what I knew about the gift industry, flip it around, and create jobs for people with disabilities. And that was back in 2010, still in the Army, still moving around. So the idea was born, but I couldn't act on it yet. And finally, in 2018, moved to the forever final home. And I said, okay, now this is happening. This is what we're going to do.
You settled in Maryland in 2018 is when you started going hard with the gift business. So you started on Amazon. I'm guessing. So
2018, what happened was I went to a business event and I was telling people, I have this idea. I really want to start a company. And the mission of the company is to create jobs for people with disabilities.
Right.
At this event was the executive director for a place for people with disabilities. And he said to me,
incredible.
Come into the center.
That's great.
Bring all your projects. Let's figure this out together. Let's work with the clients and see how you can adapt this to work with their needs. And that's what I did. So I spent about 6 months just figuring out how to adapt all the processes and all the things we do in the gift basket world and make it work for this population. And what I realized, we needed to do an assembly line style workplace. We needed to do repetitive tasks.
Sure.
And that meant we needed to sell the same gift basket over and over again. So high volume. So that's when I said, Amazon, this is where we have to start because Amazon's going to bring us customers,
Mhm.
volume, which we need. And I don't have to spend my launch dollars on marketing and branding, which are super important, but I didn't have those extra dollars for that.
Sure.
I said I can spend my launch dollars on processes, systems, and launching and product and get on Amazon and sell. And then we can build the rest from there. So year 5, that's where I'm at now, is now we're building branding and marketing. But initially it was, let's just get on Amazon and get the sales going.
So you didn't have your website initially. You've added that on after the fact,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And I love that you built your business around the people that you wanted to employ. That's pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, that was the mission from day one.
And is your son still now part of it or going to be? Or
Well, my son actually was not born with a disability.
Oh, okay.
He was not born with a disability,
but you had him in mind when you were building the business.
It was the reason that I had the idea. And it was one of those moments I remember standing at my dining room table when the thought literally occurred to me, you can fix this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that thought. I was like, okay, that's why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're supposed to be doing with your life. Yes, you're a mom. Yes, you're raising kids. Yes, you're a wife. You're all these things. But this mission is the thing that you were meant to do. So that never left, you know, and that was never going to leave. It was, okay, this is what we're meant to do. So it was one of those, as soon as we are in our final stop, this is happening.
Give us a few numbers from the business. You've 5 years in.
5 years
Break
in.
it down for me. How much is on Amazon? How much is off Amazon? How many people are you employing at this point? And what's it like having a team that's other able, disabled, different kinds of challenges, right?
So I'll address that part first. The best thing about our team is they're loyal, number one. So our turnover rate is 0, essentially.
Right. Okay.
They're super happy to come into work.
Mm-hmm.
There's other places where people are not happy to walk in the door at work.
Of course.
When my employees come in, they are thrilled to be there. Yeah. They are happy to be
there. Any
there.
Down syndrome on the team? I've got a heart for that.
Not right now, but I also have a wait list.
Because you said happy. I'm like, maybe she's talking downs because they're always happy.
I have a wait list of employees, right? I have a wait list of people.
Sure.
And so what happens is I'll get emails from parents.
Mm-hmm.
So the last email I got was actually a parent of someone with Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping that that can be either a seasonal hire we bring in for fourth quarter or our next hire. But, you know, I'm hoping part of what I do too is educate other businesses that they can adapt.
Sure.
And if they can employ this population, the benefits are so great because you're going to have a loyal employee that stays with you. Once you've trained that employee, they are very good at repeating repetitive tasks. So once they're trained.
Right.
And you're going to have people that are happy to be there. I mean, it's uplifting to be in our work environment. Every day is a good day at my company.
Mm-hmm.
And I value that greatly. I don't take that for granted. You know, I worked outside in the corporate world for a while, and I know that in those places, that's not always the case.
Sure. Our stories overlap a little bit. I didn't have the intentionality in launching my business that maybe you did. I had a different mission, vision, purpose, but my special needs son is arguably the best worker in my warehouse.
I believe it.
He knows it top to bottom. Now, he's super smart. He just has some speech issues, basically. It's his, you know, other than that, he's super sharp. But just loves the environment. He's very methodical, super loyal, wants to go to work. Like if I could have a whole team of him, I'd be set.
That's what I always say. Wants to be there. Like that's a key component. Attention to detail and very focused.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's almost like our brains compensate. You know, we've got challenges in other areas. So those areas where we are strong, we get really, really strong. It's like the blind people that can hear extraordinarily well. It's almost like, okay, there's parts of my brain that aren't working. The meticulous hand picking things up, doing things and systems. And so I love it. Hopefully you're inspiring some of the people to take on some of these kinds of...
And one of our employees is legally blind. And I have to say, he assembles this one particular product because it's kind of, I've given him ownership of this product, but he assembles it better than anybody else, including myself at this point.
Just meticulous.
And they are meticulous. Exactly.
That's phenomenal. I love that. We started to give some numbers. I shot several questions at you.
Yeah,
so
let's give you some numbers.
How big's your team and how's business?
Yeah, business is good. So we've grown 15% year over year on Amazon. Amazon definitely is the bulk of our business. I mean, it's 90% of our revenue comes from Amazon, which I appreciate. And again, that's what we set out to do, right? Was go hard on Amazon. We're hoping in 2024 to cross the $1 million threshold with Amazon to be $1 million seller on the platform.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What are your net margins approximately, if you know offhand?
Net margins, I believe I can tell you net profit runs about 15%.
Nice. Okay. Good. Very good.
And we're really more about, again, employees, where a lot of companies are trying to get away from hiring people and farming out as many tasks as possible.
You're trying to maximize that part of your business.
Yeah, we're all about hiring people, bringing in, fulfillment projects or whatever gives a job, creates a job. We're about that.
Well, these purpose-driven businesses so often can get a special kind of loyalty from their buyers. It's like, I want to buy from that company because they believe in X. And that can be a great, so not only are you doing a great job bringing in people who have very few job prospects, you're actually attracting a special kind of customer too. They can become especially loyal. So I'd love to see where you guys end up with your website, for example, some kind of loyalty repeat buy programs and those kinds of things that you can do a little bit, off. I don't work for Amazon. I'm all about maximizing my business however I can. So I'd love to see you guys do some of that. Yeah. How's that going for you? You said most of it's on Amazon. Do you have any kind of subscription off Amazon or any kind of other loyal customers hitting your website at this point? And we haven't mentioned your site yet either.
Yeah, the site's giftsfulfilled.com.
Giftsfulfilled.com.
Yeah, built on Shopify.
Name. It's a Shopify site.
Yeah, it's a Shopify site. Okay. So, and they just rolled out the new Buy with Prime Shopify
so you can fulfill with
app.
Amazon.
Yes.
But so you can keep your customers' data.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're excited about that idea that we actually get to keep the customer email information and then market to them afterwards, because that'll really build up our email marketing database if we can have those customers from Amazon.
So you understand the power of email marketing. Yeah, my business has been built on that, by the way. So love to talk to you offline sometime if you want some help in that area, because we kind of specialize in that. Nate's sitting over here quietly, just the headphones, but he's probably chomping at the bit like, oh, I'd love to help this lady out. Oh, this would be so great. So we'll be in touch maybe after the recording, but there's so much power in having your own database and that repeat follow-up purchase. And maybe we can talk offline some other time about that. Where do you see this business going? Like, what are some of your goals? How big could this get?
Yeah, I mean, the gift basket industry itself is an enormous industry, and the potential with corporate clients and even getting into customization and personalization is huge. That's sort of where we're aiming at for growth, is in those markets. What I'd love to do is actually, in about 5 years' time, be able to turn this into an employee-owned company so that it lives past myself, beautiful. So that it continues to grow.
Yeah.
Would hope we can get some more locations, specifically warehouse locations, so that we can fulfill from additional places across the country and bring these jobs, right? Yeah. Again, it's about education and about showing other companies how this population can be a real boon for them, especially people can't find employees right now. And it's like, there's a whole pool of people just dying to come work for you.
They'll be loyal.
If
they'll
you
work
can make
hard.
A couple maybe adaptations to some of your systems, it'll be worth it in the end. So
phenomenal vision.
Education is what we're trying to do as well.
I think you should write a book. You ever thought about it?
I have not. I was not a school person. Like English was not my favorite subject.
You know what you're doing? What you're doing right now, talking into a microphone,
if I can talk
telling
it out.
your story, hire a transcriptionist. You just, what I tell, the listeners and what I'd tell you is just, if you had to write a book, what are the 5 or 10 things that would go into it? Just the big themes on an index card. Just write them down.
Yeah.
And then talk about each of them in the proper order. Kind of put them into an order where you're kind of taking people down a trail and just talk about it. You're done. Your book is done. Have it transcribed. Someone else can do the graphics. Get it on KDP, on Amazon. Now you've got a book too. And that becomes the best business card you could ever have for your business. Yeah. And I'm a living testament to it. My business is built around that model. So if you ever want to talk about that, love to help you out.
I'm feeling inspired. So maybe
you've got a great story and a great vision. And I can just envision some clips from some of these people who's, the family members of the people whose lives you've changed. Like I've got to imagine like the mom just being at home proud, like, thank God. Going off to meaningful work, coming home happy, fulfilled, contributing, paycheck in hand.
I can speak to that. I mean, the mom, so the employee I told you about that's legally blind, he was not born blind. It was a genetic condition. So he had his sight, and then in his late teens started to lose it gradually over time.
Right.
So now he's, in his later 20s. And when I met his mom, she said nobody would give him a chance. They would have a help wanted sign up in the window and he would apply and they wouldn't call back.
Yeah.
And she said, he came in here and you just said, okay, you're hired. And she cried. She couldn't
Mm-hmm.
believe it. And I
Yeah.
said, well, he can do the work. So, and again, I had never worked with somebody legally blind before, but
Let's figure it
I
out.
have enough confidence now in having worked with the population enough that I'm thinking we can adapt things to just about any situation. So
We will figure it out.
I just knew, I said, I need a person and he's here and it'll
Good for
work.
you.
We'll make it work. And it does. And he also runs our shipping department sometimes. So there you go.
Well, you've got a book in you, whether you know it yet or not, and I can't wait to read it when it comes out. I want a copy. Okay, so let's talk a little more. This is an Amazon seller-focused podcast, and we're going to have some people saying, okay, cool business model. And we've got content and training on building, we call them branded bundles, where you've got a bundle of products and you got some brands that you don't own in the bundle, and it's under your brand, right? So you've done that at coming up on a 7-figure level. And there's some people who are just getting into it in our community. So talk us through the realities or some of the pain points or what tips. Like if I'm sitting here saying, hey, I kind of want to do some of this myself, what are some tips you might throw in the mix or some challenges I might not know are coming my way? And I know that's a whole can of worms, but
we'll dissect it.
Yeah, let's pick that apart with some of the time we have left.
Yeah, I think, branded bundles are basically what a gift basket is, right? I mean,
Right.
it's things from all different suppliers. And one of the big challenges we had was during the supply chain disaster zone.
Running out of that one bag of gummy worms that you need to complete
Everybody
right?
was out of everything.
Yeah,
it was a nightmare. I mean, our best seller is called One Tough Cookie,
Mhm.
and it has a specific balloon because it's a One Tough Cookie balloon. So it's kind of essential to this whole product.
Right.
Went out of stock everywhere. I'm trying to buy them. I'm like literally eBay scouring.
If anybody knows,
scouring the internet. I'll take 10 from you and 10 from you. I mean, we got to that point where we were just trying to find these balloons, and then we were out of stock, and we had to go out of stock on our best-selling product for, I want to say it was like 3 months by the time.
Ouch.
Yes.
Yeah, because that really
there's a
hurts
pain
your
point for you.
positioning in the
We pivoted and put in a different balloon with the basket, but it wasn't the same. And the customer comments, we changed the photos. We put it up there that this, different balloon is.
You were able to change your listing and change the bundle successfully.
We changed the listing.
Because that's not always something people can get away with. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We were able to, because it was the same. Everything else was the same, but the balloon was different. So we took new photos and we put on there, that this balloon was going to be in there. And the comments back were, the other balloon is so much better.
Oh,
like people, the repeat customers were like,
different color.
Where's that other better balloon that has the words One Tough Cookie on it that make this whole thing make sense? And, so sales suffered from that. And, you can't plan for that stuff. And I think that's part of being an entrepreneur. You couldn't plan for COVID. Nobody knew that was coming.
Right.
You couldn't plan for this supply chain nightmare that then happened. But how you pivot and adapt, that's really important. As a small business owner, you actually have a one-up on larger companies because you can pivot faster and adapt quicker.
You're right.
You just have to, I think one of the things people don't do, they get scared and then they don't want to face the problem. If you can say, face the fear, face the problem, figure it out, you're so much better off. And the quicker you do that, the better off you are. So I think that's one thing that we do excel at is adaptation. I mean, things do run out of stock. And what do you do to adapt to that? So that's, one thing is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fix it. Even if it's painful, don't be afraid.
So how many listings do you guys have? How many gift baskets?
I think we have about 50 on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it an 80-20 rule, like the top 20% or 80% of your sales, I'm guessing?
I'm sure,
right?
yes.
Yeah, so like the top 2 or 3 are the ones
we fall
rocking.
in that same category, yep.
Right, so what are your top sellers then? You got the Tough Cookie.
Yeah, we got the One Tough Cookie, which the beautiful thing about that product, and for people that are developing products, take this into consideration. Our One Tough Cookie, men, women, teens, kids, senior citizens, it fits a huge range of people. Nice demographic,
yeah.
And
everyone. That's a good
pretty much fits everybody. Yeah. And it's, the message is universal, right? Like the reason I love this product is it's our team. Like
it kind of represents your team,
our whole team is One Tough Cookies.
Your whole team could take that basket any day.
We are a group of One Tough Cookies.
Right.
So, I just love this product, but it's also very universal and has universal appeal, which is important because a lot of times people are looking for a gift, but don't have a lot of specifics necessarily about who they're sending it to. They don't know their hobbies and specific likes.
It's general enough that
is general enough that it works for them.
Yeah, who doesn't like cookies? Come on. Yeah.
Right. And we do 7 varieties of cookies. So if you don't like chocolate chip cookies, that's okay, because there's a lemon wafer filled cookie in there that you probably are going to like. I mean, that's really how we approach what we do, is we really try to think of, if they don't like this, make sure there's some other component in there that they will like.
Right. And so are any of these brands in these gift baskets brands that you own, the snacks? Or is it all a compilation of brands owned by?
Yeah. So
have you had any challenges there with some brands going, wait a second, we don't want our gummy worms in a gift basket? I mean, have you run into any of that?
We haven't run into that. We did run into the middle of a lawsuit on the One Tough Cookie. We were in the middle of it because a company in California was suing Hershey's over the name One Tough Cookie. And then Hershey found out that we were using the One Tough Cookie apparently even prior. So we had to, I hated to do it, we had to provide documentation to the Hershey lawyers that backed up their case. And I was like, but I want to help the small company in California.
I'd rather be helping them than Hershey.
I want to help Hershey, but
I got
no offense, Hershey. We love you too.
Oh, of course. Who doesn't love Hershey? Yeah. We love the lawyers especially, right?
But the small business side of me was hurt by that one.
I completely understand. So there's a little bit of caution that needs to go into this. And this is part of what we train. We've got our bundle training, and again, in our community. And a big part of that is setting yourself up in such a way that you avoid any kind of legal or Amazon policy struggles in the future if this thing takes off. So kind of be proactive. So any lessons there? Have you besides that story you just shared, any other lessons? If you're going to set up a bundle, make sure you look at these things first. Like, any tips there besides the ones you've shared?
An Amazon tip would just be careful how you list things, because as you know, they have robots that scan the listings for certain words. And we got tagged one time. One of our products, we use Chicken Soup for the Grieving Soul, is a book that's inside one of our sympathy gifts. Mm-hmm. The word chicken set off the bot, and they closed the listing down for Chinese food product.
Because you had the word chicken in there.
But
that's the actual title. Chicken, is that, what's that, Mark Victor Hansen? Is that one of his?
Yeah, it's the Chicken Soup for the Soul series.
That's just a different, okay. Yep. But, so you stick that in there, and the word chicken triggered the bot. We've all heard those
And the listing
stories.
Was down for, a couple of weeks.
But did it get back?
Yep, it's back.
Okay,
but,
good. Once a human take a look at it.
Again, you can't plan for those things. Mm-hmm. Who would have thought? But we haven't had, I think we use major brands that are well known, but they're also grocery store brands, if you will. So they are happy to have their product being sold.
Sure.
They're happy to, sell as many units as possible of their particular product. So,
gotcha. Okay. Do you approach those brands ahead of time, or do you do research ahead of time? Like, are they Amazon friendly?
They are Amazon friendly.
You checked out beforehand.
They're all already on Amazon.
Right. And you're of course eligible to sell all those brands.
We had, you remind me, beer nuts. We got in trouble for beer nuts.
Because of the word beer?
Because of the word beer.
Of course.
And I'm like, but Beer Nuts is on Amazon selling beer nuts as their thing.
But you put it in a gift basket.
You're okay with that. Right. But the beer triggered the whole alcohol thing. So
Exactly. But I think one of the lessons that's kind of between the cracks of your story is if you're willing to navigate those little pain points, I mean, that's what gets you in this enviable position. The other people have said, oh, I can't sell beer nuts because of the word beer, they're done, they toss it, they move on. But like, no, let's persist, let's go through the process.
Yes,
persistence is required. You have to be a tough cookie, right?
Yes.
Got to be a tough cookie. What's your website again?
Giftsfulfilled.com.
Giftsfulfilled.com. And I would love to see you get some kind of subscription program there. And again, if you need help with email marketing, or if you want some encouragement to write that book that we'd all love to see written, you need to do that. I think would change your business. But do you have any other anything else that you'd like to share? I mean, we're going to have some really good people sharing, listening to this content today. Really good families doing Amazon with great causes. Just to speak about our audience, to educate you, and maybe there's some new listeners as well. A big contingency in our community is people who want to just be home, raise their kids. Maybe it's a special needs kid, or maybe it's a sick parent, or they can put their business in their pocket. Like you said, go where they need to go, build a beautiful business, provide for the people they love. Talk to those people for just a minute. If there's anything else that you want to say from your heart, you've been in this arena. If you can just kind of visualize them, clapping for you and cheering you on, what do you have to say to those people today?
I think perseverance is really important. And if you're fortunate, I have my why, right? I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's our mission. And that mission drives me through all of these little nuances of Amazon and figuring things out and pushing through. I think you've got to figure out, what's that thing that you can cling to when your very first listing gets taken down. You're like, but why? So that you push through and you keep going and you don't just, let it go and think, oh, well, I just wasn't meant to do this. Believe that you're meant to do it and pursue it. And especially if this is going to make your family life better and, your children's lives better, whatever that why thing is that's driving you, just focus on that. Yeah. And let that be the thing that keeps you going forward.
I love your purpose. I love your vision. If you're looking for a community, I've got a good one in mind that would love to have you and maybe come to an event and meet some of our good people, the listeners today. You might hear from a few of them. They'll order a few baskets. We got a lot of tough cookies in the audience. I think they're going to snag a few. So, well, God bless you. It's good spending some time with you today.
You too. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks so much for having me.